I have the video. You know which one. He sets his phone face up on the counter and takes one step back. The ring lights are still warm from the shoot we finished 40 minutes ago. The camera is still on the tripod between us. He reaches past it and slides a printed list across the counter toward me. 41 names. Names who would understand exactly what I said on that recording. Every sponsor contact in my management file. He says if I do not hand over full access to the brand accounts and the joint business registration by tomorrow morning, he will send the footage to every name on that list. I know which video. I filmed it 8 months ago when the burnout was so bad I could not get off the bathroom floor. He sat beside me and said, "Recording yourself is how you process this," and handed me the camera like it was medicine. He stayed while I filmed. He did not look away. At the time I read that as love, the specific kind that does not flinch from the unglamorous version of you. I named names I had no business naming on camera. I said things about my audience, about people I work with, about myself, that I have never said out loud to anyone. The kind of things that do not survive context. That land as confirmation of whatever narrative someone else wants to build around them. I felt lighter the moment I stopped filming. He was right about that part. He kept it. What I cannot resolve, standing here with the list between us, is the question underneath that fact. Whether he walked into that bathroom already planning to keep it, or whether he simply recognized an opportunity when it presented itself. The candle we lit before the shoot is still burning on the shelf behind him. His voice has not changed register once since he started speaking. He is describing what he intends to do the way someone reads back a confirmed booking. I look at the list. I look at the ring on my finger. I say okay. He exhales through his nose slowly, like a man who has been holding something heavy for a long time and has finally been permitted to set it down. He picks up his phone. He does not know that the account he is demanding access to has not contained our joint assets since last Thursday. Harlan talks for 30 minutes without sitting down. He explains the video as protection. He kept it because he was worried about me and wanted documentation of how bad things had gotten in case I ever needed support. He uses the word support 4 times. He says he would never actually send it. And the list was a way of making sure I understood the seriousness of what he was asking. I fill the kettle and set it to boil. Harlan explains the brand accounts as a structural issue. Having sole access is cleaner for tax purposes, and he has been meaning to discuss it properly for weeks. The joint registration, he tells me, was always going to need simplifying as the business grew. I take 2 mugs from the cabinet and set them on the counter. This is not the first time he has asked. 3 months ago, he raised it over dinner as a practical suggestion. 6 weeks ago, he raised it again as a tax efficiency measure. 4 weeks ago, he stopped framing it as a question. Those 4 weeks felt different from the ones before them. I stopped leaving my laptop open. I started closing tabs before he walked into a room. I began keeping my management emails on a separate account I had not told him about. Not because I had decided anything, just because something in me had shifted into a register I did not yet have a name for. Last Thursday, I opened an email that was not meant for me. A brand manager's administrative error. A CC that included my name on an invoice addressed solely to Harlan for a campaign run entirely under our shared brand identity, for money I had never seen move through any account I could access. I read it once, then again, then I called Betty. Betty has been my forensic accountant for 3 years. She is the only person outside this kitchen who already knows what I found last Thursday. Maya is the lawyer who has known me long enough to know the difference between a problem and a pattern. She does not know yet. She will by morning. His phone vibrates twice against the granite while he is talking. He does not look at it. He raises his voice slightly and says the last few months have felt like I was pulling away from the partnership without telling him why, and that he needs me to trust him the way I used to. He is not wrong about the distance. I pour both mugs. I slide one toward him. He wraps both hands around it. The printed contact list is still on the counter where he left it face up. His cover story is complete and internally consistent, and I have heard every word of it. Betty has had the account history since yesterday morning. I did not sleep. I sat at the kitchen table with the laptop open and read every email in the management account from the beginning, not scanning, reading. The way you read when you are no longer looking for reassurance, when you have already decided that whatever you find you will not look away from. By the time the sky outside changed color, I had found 4 more. Different brands, different amounts, the same pattern. I had not yet called anyone. I was not ready to say out loud what I already knew. Betty calls at 9 the following morning. She says there is a second finding. The business registration was quietly amended 11 weeks ago. The amendment removes my name from the operational authority clause. It was filed on a Tuesday. I was in a brand shoot that day. I remember because Harlan rescheduled a dinner that evening and said he had a late meeting. I did not ask what the meeting was for. 2 years ago, a contracts manager at a brand event told me quietly that she had seen Harlan listed as sole representative on a submission using our joint channel name. I thanked her and moved on. I told myself it was an administrative error. Betty says the most recent transfer cleared yesterday at 6:14 a.m. That was 3 hours after Harlan finished explaining the video as protection and the accounts as a structural issue, and the last few months as me pulling away. The betrayal is not historical. It is current and it is still moving. Betty found something else inside that filing, something I have not told anyone yet. The amendment does not just remove my name from the operational authority clause. It contains a power of attorney, granting Harlan full legal authority to sign on my behalf in my name across every commercial agreement connected to our brand. He did not just take access. He gave himself the legal right to be me. Subscribe before this goes further. You will want to have been here from the beginning when the rest of it lands. He lets himself in at noon using the key I have not asked back. Harlan looks at the laptop on the table. He looks at me. He pulls out the chair across from mine and sits down with the ease of a man who has decided the morning is a misunderstanding he can correct in person. "Betty called you?" he asked. He needs to know how much I have before he decides which version of himself to deploy. I remember the night he proposed. No camera, no audience, no content. Just him, direct and certain, saying I want to build everything with you. Officially, no ring box in a restaurant. No grand gesture engineered for a thumbnail. Just that quiet conviction. The same quality that made me feel, in a room full of people performing sincerity, that he was the only one in it who meant what he said. I said yes, because his certainty felt like clarity. I stopped tracking what was mine separately the same night. That was the last boundary I had. He tells me the transfers were verbal agreements made during a period when I was not well. He says I may not remember clearly. He uses the word overwhelmed. He says the amendment was protective, filed on legal advice, something he intended to explain when the time was right. He has an answer for every line item delivered in the exact order Betty presented her findings to me this morning. Not the order a person remembers things. The order a person rehearses them the night before. The refrigerator hums behind me. He is still talking. The laptop screen is still open. His calendar shows the filing appointment blocked as a gym session billed to our joint account at a location 40 minutes from the registration office. I turn the laptop to face him. The refrigerator stops. The silence is immediate and total. Something behind his eyes recalibrates. I screenshot his calendar and send it to Betty while he is still deciding what his face should do. Betty sends the compiled file at 7 a.m. $89,000. 6 transfers. 1 amended registration. 1 calendar entry showing a gym session that was not a gym session. organized into a single document that requires no interpretation and leaves no room for alternative reading. I print it. The pages are warm from the printer. I set them on the table and put my phone face down beside them. Maya arrives at 8 with 2 filing receipts and a trademark confirmation. My name, my channel, my brand identity. Registered solely and irrevocably in my name as of yesterday afternoon. She sets the receipts on top of Betty's pages and slides them toward me without speaking. The solo brand agreements are signed before noon. 3 sponsors. Independent contracts carrying my name alone. Commercial standing established entirely outside anything connected to Harlan. The agreements are clean and current, and they exist on record. By 2 p.m., every asset he believed he controlled has a filing date that predates anything he can now claim. At 4:17 p.m., Harlan calls the senior brand manager at our largest sponsor directly. He identifies himself as the operational authority on our joint account. He tells her there are administrative changes coming, and she should hold any upcoming payments until she hears from him personally. The brand manager emails me 40 minutes later with the call log attached. She has worked with me for 2 years. She called him back and recorded it. 3 weeks pass. I stop explaining where I am going. Harlan notices the change in register and adjusts accordingly. He becomes attentive in the specific way he was at the beginning. The handwritten notes, the rescheduled meetings, the version of himself he deploys when he needs something to hold still. He makes dinner twice. He asks about my upload schedule with the careful interest of someone who has decided interest is the correct instrument for this moment. I answer in the same tone I use with brand managers I am about to stop working with. The circle did not tighten by accident. Collaborators I had worked with for years stopped being invited to sets. Partnerships I had been carefully building got discouraged. The timing isn't right. The alignment isn't strong enough. You're outgrowing them, he said. Friends became infrequent without either of us naming why. The external support that once surrounded me thinned so gradually I mistook its absence for growth. By the time I was on the bathroom floor, I had almost no one left to call. He had made sure of that without ever making it obvious. And then he handed me a camera and sat beside me while I came apart and said nothing that was not kind. That is the part I keep returning to. Not the betrayal. The kindness inside it. The joint account sits untouched. Betty monitors it every morning at 7. The balance has not moved since the day I found the invoice. Maya files the final trademark extension on a Thursday. I am editing when the confirmation arrives. I read it once and set my phone face down on the desk without responding. Harlan appears in the doorway 20 minutes later with coffee. He sets it beside the monitor without looking at the screen. He asks if the edit is going well. I tell him yes. He stays 4 minutes and then leaves. The mug has our channel logo on it. His name sits in the credit line beneath mine on every piece of content this studio has ever produced. That credit line was removed from the new brand agreement 6 days ago. He has not checked. Friday morning, Betty calls before 7. A 7th transfer cleared overnight into an account that did not exist 9 days ago. He opened a new account after I turned the laptop to face him. Maya sits across from me at the kitchen table with 4 folders and a yellow legal pad. She does not open the folders immediately. She reads through her notes once, closes the pad, and pushes it to the side. Then she begins. The trademark registrations are confirmed and irrevocable. The solo brand agreements are active and independent. The business dissolution filing was accepted by the state on Wednesday. Our joint company no longer exists as a legal entity. It has not existed for 11 days. Harlan has not been informed. A protective order covering the private footage was granted on Tuesday. He cannot distribute, share, or reference it in any commercial or public context without triggering an immediate legal response. The video he has been holding for 8 months is no longer his to use. Betty's compiled documentation covers 14 months of transactions. 7 transfers, 2 accounts, 1 amended registration, 1 calendar entry, 1 recorded phone call in which he misrepresented his operational authority to a brand manager who had already notified me. The document is 114 pages. It requires no accompanying narrative. I sign the final authorization at 11 a.m. Maya countersigns as witness. She picks up both copies and aligns the edges against the table without being asked. That is the moment I understand she has been waiting 2 years to sit in this chair. Outside, a truck passes and the window glass vibrates once and goes still. The live stream is scheduled for Saturday. Harlan confirmed the time slot yesterday. He has already told 3 people about it. He is using the phrase fresh start. I have negotiated full back-end control of the stream under our joint branding without telling him. The evidence files are loaded into the broadcast queue. Timed, ordered, ready. I had everything locked before he finished planning what he was going to say. What he does not know yet is what Saturday looks like from my side of the camera. And that part, I am only telling the people who have been here long enough to understand how far back it started. The camera is warm. The ring lights are up. 44,000 people are watching. Harlan is relaxed in the way he is always relaxed when he believes the frame belongs to him. He answers the first 4 audience questions with the polished ease of someone who has performed sincerity long enough to stop distinguishing it from the real thing. He laughs twice. The comment section moves fast and warm. I ask him to walk the audience through how our finances work, how the brand deals are structured, how the money moves. He pivots with practiced fluency, complexity, shared systems, the natural overlap of 2 people running an integrated creative business. The pivot is good. It would have worked in almost any other context. The first screenshot appears on screen behind him. A transfer record. His name, our brand, an account number. Betty traced to a registration filed 4 months after our engagement. He turns to look at it. He turns back. He starts a sentence about context and does not finish it. The second screenshot appears, then the third. His jaw tightens by a fraction. He attempts dismissal, misunderstanding. He uses the word complicated twice and the word unfair once. The comment section has already decided. Then the audio plays. His own voice, recorded, describing the deals he had been concealing and the footage he intended to deploy if I became a problem. 44,000 people hear it in real time. The comment section stops moving for 4 seconds. Then it reverses direction like a tide. I wait until the room goes completely still. Then I tell the audience without raising my voice that our joint company was legally dissolved by my team 11 days ago. He already lost before he sat down. He is the last person in the room to understand it. The sponsorships withdraw first. 4 brands inside 72 hours. No statements, no explanations. Quietly worded emails arriving one after another into an inbox he no longer has access to, because the brand accounts reverted to my sole control the moment the stream ended. He finds out through a manager he had been dealing with privately. She does not return his call. His standing in the creator community moves next. The audience he spent 3 years borrowing dissolves without the foundation it was resting on. Creators who had taken his meetings stop responding. 2 publicly unfollow within the week. They do not explain. They do not need to. Betty submits the full financial documentation to the civil litigation team on Monday morning. 114 pages, 7 transfers, 2 accounts, 1 amended registration, 1 recorded call. The filing is accepted by Wednesday. The amount named in the claim is $106,000 inclusive of legal costs and projected damages. Harlan is served on Thursday at an address he did not know I had. The private video is never released. He knows that releasing it now would only confirm to an audience already watching and already decided exactly who he is. The leverage he held for 8 months died the moment the audio played. He does not attempt it. Not everything returns cleanly. A small ethical brand I had worked with for 2 years withdraws quietly in the days after the stream. Not because of anything I did, because they have no appetite for noise, regardless of its origin or justice. I allow myself one private moment for that loss, not for the money, for what it felt like to work with people whose values I did not have to perform for. 3 weeks later, I am alone in the studio. No camera scheduled, no upload due, no audience waiting. I slide the ring off and set it on the table and look at it for a moment. Then I take the shared play button down from the wall and replace it with my solo award. I do not film it. I do not post it. That is the point. The studio is quiet in a way it never was before. Not empty, just mine. The ring lights are off. The tripod stands where it always has. The shelf where the candle burned down that night is clean now. No wax, no smoke, no trace of anything that needed to end. The upload goes live at 9. Solo. My name in the title, my name in the credits, my name on every document that matters. The comments fill the way they always have. Familiar, steady, real. I read them without him. At noon, the room is silent again. I make coffee and sit at the table where I once turned the laptop toward him and watched something inside him shift. The ring is still where I left it. I move it once across the table with one finger, then I leave it there. The brief for the next project is open. I read the first line slowly this time. Outside, a truck passes and the window vibrates once before settling. I pick up the pen and I begin. If you stayed to the end, subscribe. The next story is already moving.